Maybe big data has gotten too big. Whether you're a B2B marketer or a consumer brand, your data needs to be viable, relevant, and accessible so that Stirista can help you retain customers, acquire customers, and make it personal.
Welcome to the Marketing Stir podcast by Stirista, probably one of the most entertaining marketing podcasts you're going to put in your ear. I'm Kevin, the producer here at Stirista. The goal of the podcast is to chat with industry leaders and get their take on the current challenges facing the market. Maybe we'll have a little fun along the way. In today's episode, Prakash Hariharabalan, Senior Director of Marketing Analytics at Signet Jewelers, joins us to discuss the unique marketing structure of his business, the importance of predictive data models, and how he measures success.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Stirista's The Marketing Stir. I am your host, your happy host, Vincent Petrofessa, the Vice President of B2B Products and Partnerships here at Stirista, still interim general manager. Let's throw the interim out. Let's call me the general manager now of the B2B division. I just did it. Of course, I did it when my co-host and CEO, AJ Gupta, is not on. So we'll have to listen to this and see if he indeed listens and says, hey, I heard you say that you're the general manager now. I did. Shouldn't have missed the episode. But no, he really wanted to be here today, ladies and gentlemen. I am riding solo, but I think another tennis injury. We have to tell him, I think start writing in, be like, AJ, is it really all worth it for a trophy? Guess what? We're old enough now. We could buy our own trophies. I guess you didn't realize that as a child, but now you can. I was going by a store the other day and I realized you could just buy trophies. But yeah, we miss him. We miss you, AJ. But ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Stirista for just a moment. We are Stirista. This is the Marketing Stir. We are a marketing technology company. We own our own business-to-business data, business-to-consumer data, and we also help those customers of ours access that data to help them get new customers through our own ESP, DSP. Email me, vincent@stirista.com. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I'm live. You can tell I'm not live. No, we record this in advance. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. We will miss AJ. I will see him, though, at Adweek coming up. Adweek is in New York City. Also, some cool things. November 2nd, the Battlefin Conference here in New York City. November 2nd, also the Silver Apple Awards, the Marketing Club of New York Silver Apple Awards, for which I usually host. I'm usually the MC of that. But this year, ladies and gentlemen, November 2nd is my 10-year wedding anniversary. My wife and I, 10 years. So November 2nd, I will miss those events, but Stirista will be in the house. So please attend, take a look. I will miss them, but it's not the 11 year, not the 9 year, the 10. That's special. That's special. So also special, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of anniversaries, look at what I just did there, Prakash. Anniversaries, you think of anniversaries, you think jewelry, jewelers, very special guest. Signet Jewelers, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to dive deep into, you're like, wait, Signet, I may know who they are. You definitely know the companies that they own, and we're going to get into those. But my very special guest today, I enjoy talking all things football, all things marketing, data, life. The Senior Director of Marketing Analytics at Signet Jewelers, Prakash Hariharabalan. What's going on, Prakash?
Hey, Vincent, nice to meet you. That was a great intro.
Thank you.
My name rolled off your tongue really well, so that's a great start.
That's a great start. Yeah, people always I always try to get, because I speak another language, Prakash. I speak Spanish, but I'm Italian. As the viewers could see my face, there's no escaping the way I look because they're like, you're Italian. I know. But yeah, I try. My last name is Pietrofessa, so I pride myself on that. It's a great name. Love the name. Love having you here. And yeah, right in time for my anniversary, right? It's just a coincidence. But Signet Jewelers, talk to us about for the listeners out there, talk to us about the organization and then your role. I love your role because it combines marketing and analytics and data. It's a very unique, one of the more unique roles that we've had on 160 plus podcasts here. So talk to us.
So thank you for having me. So, and appreciate that, right? So I work for Signet Jewelers, as you said, and our core belief is love inspires love. That's our motto, and right, and our mission really is to enable all people celebrate life and express love. That's what we are all about, right? You want and occasions, as you said, anniversaries, like birthdays, engagements, all the big events in life, we are there to help you celebrate it. So that's a big part of it. So we are also the world's premier like retailer. We are known through our brands. As you said, Signet Jewelers, you may not know, but you definitely would have probably heard about Kay, about Jared, about Zales, and then all our newer brands like our Roxbox. You can hear, and probably a Blue Nile, our online only brand and such. So we are, our mission, as we said, our motto is also to meet our customer, providing the best customer experience as they go through shopping for some really important occasions in their lives. Make it the best possible experience for them. That's what we are about. All about the customer experience, rich customer experience. And my role is how to make that possible, bring it to life using data. I support the banner, as we call the brand's banners internally, right? And support their marketing teams and our SLT make decisions using data. And that's fundamentally what I do, my team does. I'm very lucky to have the team that I have, data scientists, analysts, managers, strategists, to be able to answer all and any questions about our customers, what they like, what they've bought previously, and build complicated models, data science models. That's our bread and butter. So that's kind of in a gist about the company and what my role entails in probably less than a minute.
Yeah, no, you did it. That's a great way to break it down, because like you said, a lot of people do, Prakash, know those. I mean, marketing, if you want to get into the nitty gritty on marketing, like think about a few of those brands you just mentioned. K, right? Every kiss begins with K. Jared, he went to Jared. It's like, that's amazing. You know how many people would love to have that ingrained in the culture, in pop culture. So it's amazing, the brands that you represent there. Before we dig a little deeper into that, we have a staple question, like, how'd you get started in this business? How'd you get started in marketing? What was it? Data first? Was it, and then marketing? Talk to us.
It's a very interesting question. So I started out in marketing, actually, in my days at Deloitte. So my background a little bit, I started out as a lot of people from where I'm from in India as an engineer, software engineer, built a lot of highly complicated software solutions that today would be AI solutions. Would do that. And then I went and did my MBA from Kellogg, marketing school, the best marketing school in the world, right? So that's where I got started in marketing, if you were to go take that as a starting point. And then I went to Deloitte, a lot of go-to-market strategy work at Deloitte. And then through my work in the world of corporate strategy at different firms that I worked, that's marketing has been a central pillar of the work that I've done. So that's kind of my story in marketing. And as time changed in the last 10 years, the role of data, marketing used to be a little more fluffy, softer, and making some, shall we say, intuitive, gut-based decisions, to more data being available, structured data, unstructured data coming together, and making decisions became more important. Making data-driven decisions became more and more important. And my role kind of changed over time to using more and more data. And I landed here in this very exciting role at Signet, where I drive decisions, enable leaders to make data-driven decisions.
That's awesome. And let's give a shout out to the Kellogg School, Northwestern. Everyone listening, check it out. So you were talking, Prakash, Signet operates almost as like a holding company for those various retail brands. Does that structure impact the work you do in marketing and marketing analytics? Is it all the different brands that you're kind of overseeing, into one area? I'd love to learn more about that.
Yes, so it's definitely very unique for a retailer, right? To have things separated out, how owning banners and brands like this. But I also go back to what makes it easy for me is to kind of tap back into my strategy experience where I've helped with other places where you have lines of business. Think of it like lines of business, business units, what have you. So that mindset helps me work very easily with the banner leader. So yes, we do have different groups because each banner is independent to a very large extent. When I'm working with their marketing teams, their customers are different, so we work exclusively with them. But there are also a lot of areas of synergy. That's why we are able to maximize the value of what we do. So in other ways, if you think about it, if each banner had to have the kind of team, if they were totally independent, it would be very hard for them to the kind of support that we provide. Because right now we're providing support to multiple banners. A lot of things that we do is of the same infrastructure, but the questions that we help them answer are very unique. So same base, and then we branch out and specialize for what we do. So it makes it a little different, but also it's very exciting because for everyone on the team, they're able to do the comparison. Like, hey, this is the way it works here. What happens with K? This is the K customer, and they're behaving like this. What happens, and how does a similar profile customer do with sales? So it makes the work even more exciting than it would be if we were supporting just one.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine the challenge is you're dealing with different degrees of measurement and measurement success throughout all those. How does that kind of play in? I would imagine each individual, you call them banners, right, have their own units of success. Talk about that process.
Yes. So the way we measure success, especially for our work that comes in as you work with them, right? So we have got what, as any team would say, a resume is like we have a mix of soft and hard metrics. So think of it like, hey, what's our primary goal? We want to make sure that the banners maximize their investment in marketing. That's the fundamental goal of our team, right? And then we're making them choose the right people to target at the right place, the right time. So we are trying to maximize that. So are we able to achieve it? So standard measures, ROI, incremental ROI. Are we pressure testing certain models that we get from third-party vendors, like a typical marketing mix model, and things like that. That's where we add value. So standard models like that, and then there are slightly second tier metrics like, hey, we publish a lot of dashboards because we want to enable self-serve of analytics by the banners, right? We don't want them coming to us every time for every question and create bespoke analysis. So how well are they using it? How well are we training them to get them to use the dashboards themselves and things like that? So we track that metric. And the third metric is to say, hey, are we solving different, more complicated questions than we did last year? That's a big part of us to say, you know what, for my team, it's very important to say, okay, we're doing more and more higher value added work, and we're moving the needle for both our team, for the team, and for the enterprise. So those are kind of in very broad strokes how we measure success.
That's very interesting. And when you're talking about that, what other things that come to mind are, well, there's a lot of, you have a lot of insight into, okay, well, we think that this person who is shopping at Jared would also be able to purchase at K, and you're understanding that information and what makes a good kind of crossover client, I would imagine. And also, are you involved at all, Prakash, in the marketing and the data analytics behind where the next store opens up? Any of that information are you involved in?
We definitely partner with real estate. So we definitely partner very strongly with real estate because they would come to us, they'll work with us and say, hey, this is the profile of, give me the profile of a typical Zales customer, for example. If you want to open a Zales store, they'll say, okay, this is how a customer looks like. And then they would say, okay, do we have enough of these people in a certain mile radius of the store? Because we know how far customers will travel, not travel, so on and so forth. So we work with them in picking, helping them make the decisions, but the decision itself is made by a different team.
What were some of those challenges? You're at a new company, you're in a pandemic. How did you navigate the retail challenges around the pandemic? And also, there's some industries we talked to, Prakash, where they're like, yeah, we sold lumber and we went through the roof, or we sold these type of products, or we're a manufacturer of this. Jewelry, I would imagine, was one of those. Was it one of the people kind of were more cautious about it? You didn't hear about many people rushing to buy jewelry during a time like that, but I'd love to understand your thoughts around that.
Yeah. So luckily for me, I started a few months before the pandemic, and it shows, I started at the end, it's my 4-year anniversary right now, actually. I just finished, I had that a few days ago.
Anniversaries all around. I love it.
All around. Yes. Right. So that lead time actually allowed me to build a very good network. Kind of shows the importance of the first 60, 90 days when you start a job, when you start at a new place. It was almost godsend, if I could say that. Right. And that helped me understand the team, understand the stakeholders, and also all the other pieces that changed very fast as we went through a lockdown, which was our IT infrastructure. Because when we went into lockdown in March, it was, hey, how do we manage to do all the big data analytics work that we do over VPN? And as the stores were closing, everyone was trying to figure out, how do we actually change and adapt to a very different operating model? And I'll say this, Signet, everyone rolled up their sleeves and were flexible as I've never seen ever before. We went through for 3 months, 4 months. It was very, very challenging. We were basically, for a large part of that time, we were digital only, and as stores slowly opened up, we were experimenting with a lot of things, and we were helping the banners experiment, test and learn. How do we support the jewelry consultants in our stores? And we worked closely with everybody, supporting all their requests, creating lists of customers to outreach, supporting our customers, supporting our JCs. And the organization honestly benefited from a lot of work that we had been doing around digitization. So we had, around that time, we launched what's called Live Person. It was like a chat. You would come onto our site, have a conversation with a virtual jewelry consultant. A lot of investments that were being made and continued to be made during the pandemic just transformed us into a very different company. Now, we also observed that there were a different kind of customers who were also coming in. We were seeing generally a lot more younger customers come in, buy some gifts. Typically, we would not have seen them. There are many reasons for that. Maybe some of it was stimulus. Some of it was like, hey, the restaurants are closed, can't go to the movies, some of the benefit from that. But we did see a new set of customers come in, and we've also seen them stay through most of as we reopened slowly and made the environment very safe for both our employees and our customers. So it's been fantastic. The way Signet managed to support everybody was just amazing.
That is, yeah. Because as you're talking about it, I'm also thinking it's, anniversaries still go on, and special events and birthdays and weddings. To people are like, oh, I'm not going to wait 4 years to get married. And they're going online. And I think, like you said, a lot of the younger audience that maybe is not going to a mall or a shopping center, they discover you online, and they start to really love the products and the quality of the products, and they stay with you. So, yeah, we talked to a lot of companies and that was our question we were asking throughout those first couple of years about the pandemic. And you see how people adapted, or those who didn't were quick to do some digital transformation. So that's interesting to hear. Let's talk about, you said a couple of things, so kind of a two-part question, but it leads into something you just said with a live person, even taking that further, the importance of data in your role. And also, is Signet utilizing AI even further than what you were originally doing there with the live person?
Oh, yes. So we'll start with importance of data, right? Data is central to my work. One of the biggest things I kind of alluded to is marketing transformation. We are going from marketing as a function being more intuition-based to being more data-driven, more technology-driven, right? So saying, okay, can I make the best decision using the best available data? So that's for that to happen. Data is the central piece, and my team and I play a very, very, very important role in that. So that's our bread and butter. We build models of our data, predictive models to tell, hey, this customer is better than customer A versus B. Customer A should be targeted. Don't target them right now. Target them 3 months from now. Target customer C right now. It's better to send them an email versus making a call to them, or sending them a direct mail, or hitting them up on social media. So all these decisions are all based off all the different models that my team builds, so on and so forth. Yes, we do. And the other question of, are we using AI? Yes, we're using AI quite a bit, whether it is to make product recommendations, or we are using in visual search on the site, or you're using many are experimenting. We're a technology forward company. I'm very proud to say that we're experimenting with a lot of the technologies that have been like in the popular media for the last few months, right? We're experimenting with that a lot. Obviously cannot talk about it more publicly, but we are experimenting with them internally, and you'll see some exciting stuff in the coming months.
That's interesting. Yeah, I assumed you were, just because how data forward you are, but Signet, large company, right? Different, even the companies underneath it are very, very large. What advice do you have for people in small businesses that are interested in incorporating data science into their marketing mix?
Honestly, I think I have friends in small business who are actually using data and data science. The barrier to entry is much, much lower than what it used to be a few years ago. Earlier, you needed to have, starting with like, hey, if I have how do I collect data? Where do I store data? You needed a mini IT organization to even, before you started thinking about data scientists and others. But in today's world, in the world of cloud infrastructure, actually the smaller companies have an advantage because they are not limited by some of the larger companies' infrastructure and decisions that were made at a very different point in time. So smaller, newer companies' ability to leverage cloud technology to get off the ground very fast, and also all the marketing platforms, they have fantastic tools available to solve. And then there are also a lot of, you don't even need to today invest in a permanent resource or resources to go build out a marketing function. You can collaborate, work with consulting companies, and some of my friends have done that, and experiment and see, okay, does that work for you? And 9 times out of 10, it'll work for you. And you'll make it'll change the way you make decisions and you go about doing your business.
That's great advice. Yeah, I know our small business owners and people who work there who are listening appreciate that. Prakash, talk to us about, you've done a great job and you have an interest in intertwining data and kind of the overall culture of your business or businesses. How are you doing that? What results are you finding there? The decision-making process around it. I would love to get your overall sense on how you're doing that and kind of the importance of it.
Great question, actually. even though I work with data so much and my team works with data, it's at the end of the day a people business. And it's all about the people, right? And it's about understanding the question behind the question. And you cannot really understand that until you have you build a relationship. So that's why I was saying right at the beginning, before the pandemic, I had some time before it started because I was able to build relationships, get to know them, get to understand the business a little better, get to know people one-to-one. And that is a very important thing in the world of data, because I've seen many people, especially starting out, oh, the data says this is what, so it has to be right. So it is, yes, it is true, but it is true within a certain context. So, and people tend to not understand the importance of people relationships, because it is people who at the end of the day have to make decisions. And the data at the end of the day will tell you a good part of the story, but almost never tell you the full story, especially when you're making decisions about the future, right? There is a good portion that's fuzzy, unclear, still have to make a decision based on, that's why I use the word best data available. It's never going to be the complaint for me, right? So it's all about people. And I think honestly, for me, what's really, really helped is my work in the world of strategy. It opened my eyes to a lot of different things, working with marketing, working in finance, working with product teams, a whole lot of different teams, and working with the C-suite, right? That was something that helped me understand as a young practitioner the importance of people relationship and emphasizing it, building it, and asking the questions. So one of the things that I instituted when I came here was to say, okay, we've got to have, just because somebody asks for something, we just don't go do it. We meet with them and we have a 30-minute meeting with them, ask them, okay, why is this question important for you to answer? What decisions are you trying to make? Understand the context, understand the question behind the question. And that's helped us become far more effective, because at the end of the day, that's what we are trying. We're not trying to give them a data sheet or a PowerPoint slide and give them, okay, here are the 4 data points. We want to be able to suss the insights out, tell them, and help them make a decision.
It makes complete sense. And I mean, especially in all business, it's a people business. I as I joked in the beginning of the podcast, I am in charge of our B2B division and all of our B2B data and B2B marketing. And even though that's a business to business, at the end of the day, that decision maker is a person, and he or she is busy and maybe is working from home. And it's just, you have to really think about it that way. In all walks of life, as far as marketing goes. So I love that you restated that. Data, right? So you talk about goals, you talked about really taking a deep dive into data. So how do you confront data that is misaligned with the narrative or goals of a company that you're working with?
That's again, great questions. I'm loving this, Vincent.
Thank you.
Right. So again, it is to understand the context. When somebody says, and we have this quite a few times, right? Okay, you've come up with an analysis, and the leader will say, I don't think this is right. This isn't wrong. This is not okay. I expected the customers to be like this, or the belief was they would come back in X number of months. You're telling me it's different. And then you understand both sides. You understand, okay, what is the source of what we call tribal knowledge or context, or where is this coming from? Under what context was that true? And are we talking about it from a different context, rather than, again, saying, okay, this is what the data says and data is right? You have to look at data from that context, right? So we understand the context. A few times I've been right, a few times I've been wrong. And we have had to adjust the context. So it's again trying to understand why somebody is believing in what they believe. Is this backed by just something that's being told to them? Or is there more to it? And in most cases than not, we have usually found that either the context is very different, or more importantly, we have thought about the problem in a very, very different way. We've solved it in a very different way. It's a new way. Then we have to bridge the gap. We have to tell them, hey, you know what? This is not wrong. But when we look at these 7 new things that we have been able to look at that was not available in the historical context or in the prior context, we hence have a different point of view on that same metric, right? You have to be able to walk your stakeholder through that process, through that thinking, in order to build credibility and make sure that, so usually people are receptive as long as you're willing to walk with them through the process and also understand the implications. Sometimes it is like you have to understand, okay, if a decision A was being made because of certain beliefs, now you're saying that the beliefs are wrong. What does it do to decision A? What's the impact of that? In some cases, it may be material. In some cases, it may not be material. And it comes back to the people business, right? You say, if it's very material, then you work with them. If it's not material, you kind of go, okay, it's not. Don't fall on the sword for that.
I love it. I love the way you break that down. So now, Prakash, all the hard questions are gone, right? Now, these are the personal questions. We get to know you personally here on the podcast. Well, we have one as our signature question, and people, if we ever miss this question, people confront me at conferences, and I'm like, all right, take it easy, man. It's our LinkedIn question. The company you're at, the title, you must get LinkedIn messages all the time. What's a message that you hate and you never respond to, but what's one that you will respond to and kind of catches your eye?
So messages that I generally don't respond to or ones that lack, again, they'll be a simple blank hello. Hey, I looked at your profile where it's either blank, so I don't know why you want to connect with me. Sometimes you're telling, and sometimes like, hey, I found your profile interesting, so would like to connect with you. What about it?
Yeah, it's like, why?
Exactly. But the ones that are really I engage with, and are the ones where there is like, hey, this is what I really liked in this one. This is what I've got. And if it's a sales pitch, there's nothing wrong with it, right? So I respect that. I mean, it's the hardest job in the world is sales. But if you're upfront, if someone's upfront about it, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what we're selling. I think this would be interesting. It would be a good use of your time. Would love to connect with you. I usually respond to that. The same thing if it's about like, hey, this is my network. I'm a young person. I'm starting to build my network. I would like to chat up with you, talk to you. That's something I totally accept. But as long as I know why somebody is wanting to talk to me, they're more likely to get a response than a blank one or just what looks like a copy paste. Basically, you can tell somebody's copy pasting like 20 the note to like 20 people.
What always gets me is when someone just messes up where they're like, hey, you don't have the right company in there. You forgot to delete that and insert Stirista when you said that.
Oh, those ones.
Or little things like, the getting my name wrong, or I know it's like, really, come on. And look, I understand, sales is extremely tough. I know firsthand a lot of that, but yeah, it's like, do your homework. I always tell people where it's like, look, you don't need to send out 400 emails a week to get someone. Just find some commonality. Just talk to people the way you'd want to be talked to. So yeah, no, that's your points reiterate all that. So you are, we were talking about this, Prakash, you're in the Cleveland area, but you're a Bears fan. I have a lot of my closest friends are Bears fans growing up in New York. I guess the 85 Bears had a big impact on them, and they're just like, we're going to stick with them. I'm like, all right. So with that, I know you're a big sports fan, but what else? What do you like doing up there in Cleveland? Some of your hobbies?
So I'm an emerging DIYer.
Oh, nice.
I'm just learning some stuff. I built some raised garden beds this summer, grew some vegetables. I love that. Built some outdoor furniture. So that's one part. I've got some projects that I want to run around the house basically for Ethernet wire my whole house. This is like a 1970s house. So there are phone ports here, right here on the table.
You have like a pay phone in your home and a phone booth. You're like, how did this happen? Yeah,
exactly. So I want to do some work. Then I love playing, and then I love relearning 5th grade, 6th grade math with my kids.
Oh, I know.
I do some of that. And then actually I love nature. So I go out as much as I can, especially in the beautiful summer that you get, the beautiful and short summer that we get in Cleveland, to go out into the woods. And to the extent possible, go to Disney. My kids love it. So we'll every 2 years or so, we'll go down to Disney and have a good week off over there. So those are really good. And I'll have a plug. I'll watch a little bit of cricket. It's the World Cup time right now. It's the Cricket World Cup, so I'm watching that as well.
Oh yeah. AJ loves cricket too. Oh yeah, he's a big cricket fan. Our CEO. That would have been nice to have you guys chat. Well, I'll connect you anyway because he's a CEO of this awesome company here. So it'd be nice for you two to meet. But that's awesome. Yeah, he's gonna miss this episode. Because that would have been the last like 35 minutes of the episode. He would have just been talking about cricket. But that's awesome. I love how you say you're like an emerging DIYer. You're like, I just built some outdoor furniture. I'm like, what? That's not emerging. You're there.
I'd help.
Yeah, it's funny. Early this morning, so my wife and I, we just bought a home, an apartment here in Manhattan, and we have a backyard. Which is very rare for Manhattan. And today's the first. I moved in June. Today's the first day, Prakash, I felt like a homeowner because I raked leaves. Not raked. I swept. I'd be silly to buy a rake, but I swept leaves off of my backyard. It's like wooden, and it kind of has like this raised brick all around. It's like a little private oasis, which is nice. But I swept leaves, and I said, wow, I feel like a homeowner. I feel like I'm in the suburbs.
Nice.
And yeah, it was surreal. It was. And that just happened today, matter of fact.
Joys of homeownership. You'll love it.
Well, I don't know how much I enjoy it because I'm like, wait, I need a plumber now. And I was working from home yesterday because I had to wait for a plumber to come. And then I was like, wait, so just for you to show up, it's how much? Just to say hello to me? They're like, oh yeah, that's how much. I'm like, oh my, this is crazy.
New York has to be crazy, really crazy.
Oh, forget it. New York City, it's insane. Everything is expensive here. But also, Prakash, talk about you. I know you're always speaking at different events. Are you any of those coming up?
Yeah, I'm at ETEL in February.
Nice.
Early next year. I think it's Feb 26th, 27th. I'll be speaking at that conference. So look forward to it. Super excited about that. That's the next one up on my plate.
Where's that going to be? Is that Florida or that's in
Palm Springs?
Oh, California.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I'm not going to miss the Feb weather in Cleveland for a few days in Palm Springs. That's going to be awesome.
That'll be awesome. You're like, where is it? What am I speaking on? Sure, I'll do it. I love it. Prakash, this has been really fun. It's great to get to know you during this episode. A lot of great information. I love it. That's Prakash, Signet Jewelers, Senior Director Marketing Analytics at Signet. Ladies and gentlemen, another warm welcome and thank you to Prakash Hariharabalan. This has been the Marketing Stir. I'm Vincent. That's Prakash. AJ, hopefully his swing is better. He's going to really miss this episode. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Stir podcast from Stirista. Please like, rate, and subscribe. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please email us at themarketingstir@stirista.com. And thanks for listening.